How many coaches have been fired in the NFL?
10. Yeah.
I'm not going to get started with that situation. I'm not going to get started with that situation.
My house.
Yeah, I'm not going to get
the house in Prime built.
Make sure I ain't got nothing. Make sure I ain't got nothing right.
We have proof.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Is this the hockey jersey? I still represent. I still love y'all. How many coaches have been fired in the NFL?
Yo, what is going on, everybody? You need to drop everything you're doing right now, because what I'm about to tell you is absolutely insane. We're talking about Coach Prime Deion Sanders putting the entire Cleveland Browns organization on blast for what they've been saying about his son, Shedeur. And when I tell you this situation is about to blow up the entire NFL draft process, I am not playing around right now. This is the kind of insider drama that has agents calling.
That man, that guy, that myth, and that legend is the Atlanta Falcons head coach. Atlanta, what the fuck are y'all doing? What is this? Why? Y'all think this is a good pickup? Look at this class reunion photo.
Stefanski? What else is there to say with this damn team? All them people you interviewed. And Stefanski was the best option. I'm sick of this.
What's the actual fuck, man? Like, bro, I didn't want this nigga at all. This is not what the fuck I wanted. This nigga's a loser. He's been losing these last couple fucking years.
Front office is scrambling and draft boards getting completely reworked as we speak. If you care about the NFL draft, if you care about Shedeur Sanders' future, if you care about the truth behind what's really happening in these front offices, you absolutely cannot miss what's about to go down in this video. So let me set the stage for you, because this is wild. The Cleveland Browns just went through one of the most disastrous coaching changes in recent NFL history. Kevin Stefanski, gone, fired, out of there. And he didn't just leave by himself. Oh, no. He took the offensive coordinator spot with the Atlanta Falcons, and he brought Tommy Rees with him. So now Cleveland is sitting there with absolutely no head coach.
This man, Tommy Rees, offensive coordinator, Northern Western University, San Diego Chargers, offensive assistant, University of Notre Dame, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator / quarterback coach, University of Alabama. He was there with Nick Saban and the tight ends coach / pass specialist. Then in 25, he became the offensive coordinator for the Falcons.
No offensive coordinator and complete organizational chaos. But here's where it gets absolutely nuclear. There have been reports, and I'm talking about reports coming from supposed inside sources in Cleveland, suggesting that the Browns aren't high on Shedeur Sanders, that they don't think he's the guy, that maybe they're looking elsewhere for their quarterback of the future. Some of these reports have even gone as far as to question Shedeur's arm strength, his ability to read NFL defenses, his readiness for the professional level. And let me tell you something right now. Coach Prime just heard all of that, and he is not having it. This man appears.
Stefanski out to prove his staff wasn't the issue in Cleveland. I'm all for it. No. Can't wait for that reverse on 4th and goal from the one. Kevin Biggs, yes, man. Below average NFL OC. Oh, boy, I give it 2 years. Somebody said will feel great with Kevin Stefanski, 15-yard box high school offense. Yeah, man. A lot of people in Atlanta is not really feeling this whole situation. Now, something else that has caught the news is Shedeur Sanders and his brother Shiloh Sanders being overseas.
On the Morning Run podcast up in Boulder, Colorado. And when the topic came up about what's happening with the Browns, about the coaching situation, about all these rumors swirling around Shedeur, Prime's response was everything. They asked him straight up about the NFL coaching carousel, about 10 coaches getting fired, about the chaos in Cleveland. And you know what he said? I'm not going to get started with that situation. But the way he said it, the look on his face, the tone in his voice, that wasn't him backing down. That wasn't him avoiding the topic. That was him sending a message. That was him telling the Cleveland Browns.
I know he has a better closet for sure.
He has a little bit more free time. Yeah, I got some more free time now. But we both have swag, you know what I'm saying? We get it from prime time. He hates to say it, but everything he try to wear, our dad already did. So he think he be doing his own thing. But where do you think you get your swag from? I think it's just from like inspiration, different fashion, different designers, a lot of different things. Inspiration from what? From you, brother. From you.
And every other NFL organization out there. I see exactly what y'all are doing. I know exactly what's being said, and we're not playing these games. And this is the part that has absolutely everyone talking right now. He brought up Atlanta. He reminded everyone that Atlanta is my house, the house that Deion Sanders built when he was drafted by the Falcons back in 1989, the city where he became a legend, the franchise where he established himself as one of the greatest to ever do it. Now, why is that significant when we're talking about Cleveland and Shedeur? Because Coach Prime is basically putting the entire NFL on notice right here. He's saying, I know my worth. I know what I built. I know what my son is capable of. And I'm not about to let some struggling organization with no direction and no leadership start spreading lies and misinformation about my family. Think about what's really happening here for a second. The Cleveland Browns are in complete disarray right now. They just fired their head coach. Their offensive coordinator bounced to Atlanta. They have no established system, no clear direction, no stability whatsoever. And yet somehow, there are reports coming out questioning whether Shedeur is the right fit for them. Are you kidding me right now? Shedeur Sanders just had one of the most impressive college careers we've seen in years. This young man has been breaking records at Colorado, showing elite arm talent, demonstrating incredible poise under pressure, leading his team through adversity, and proving he can perform on the biggest stages. And now some organization that can't even keep a coaching staff together for more than 2 seasons is trying to plant seeds of doubt about him. Coach Prime sees right through it. And so does everyone else who's been paying attention to how the NFL draft process really works behind the scenes. Because here's what's actually happening. And you need to understand this. When NFL teams start leaking negative information about prospects, it's almost never about the actual prospect. It's about leverage. It's about driving down interest. It's about trying to manipulate the draft board so maybe, just maybe, that player falls to them at a lower pick. Or it's about covering their own incompetence by preemptively blaming the player if things don't work out. And Coach Prime, he's been in this league long enough to know all the tricks. He's seen every game that front offices play. He knows how organizations try to control narratives and manipulate public perception. And he's not about to let his son become a victim of that nonsense. Now let's talk about what's really going on in Cleveland right now, because this is absolutely crucial to understanding why Prime responded the way he did. The Browns are scrambling. They're desperate. They have one of the highest picks in the draft. They desperately need a franchise quarterback. And they're looking around at their organization thinking, how are we going to convince an elite prospect to actually want to come here? Because let's be real for a second. What top quarterback prospect is looking at Cleveland right now thinking, yeah, that's where I want to start my NFL career? No head coach, no offensive coordinator, no clear vision, an owner with a questionable track record of football decisions, a roster that underperformed despite having talent. Why would any elite prospect be excited about that situation? So what do? They start trying to shift the narrative. They start planning stories. They start making it seem like they're the ones being selective, like they're the ones with options, like prospects should be grateful for the opportunity to come to Cleveland. It's classic misdirection, classic NFL front office politics, and Coach Prime just called them out on it without even having to explicitly say their name. When he said, I'm not going to get started with that situation, what he's really saying is, I could expose everything that's happening right now. I could break down all the games being played. I could reveal all the lies being told. But I'm going to stay classy. I'm going to stay composed. I'm going to let my son's talent speak for itself. But then he follows it up with my house when talking about Atlanta. And that's the power move right there. Because he's reminding everyone, including Cleveland, that he's Deion Sanders. He's Coach Prime. He built a legacy in this league that most people can only dream about. And his son has that same DNA, that same work ethic, that same championship mentality. The disrespect is absolutely willed when you really think about it. Shedeur Sanders has done everything right. He followed his father to Jackson State and helped put HBCU football back on the map. He transferred to Colorado and immediately elevated that program to national relevance. He's conducted himself with class and professionalism in every interview. He's shown maturity beyond his years. He's proven he can handle pressure, adversity, and the spotlight. And now some organization that can't even figure out its own coaching situation is trying to question whether HE's ready. The audacity, the nerve. And you know what makes this even more frustrating? Look at what just happened with Kevin Stefanski going to Atlanta. The Falcons hired him as their new head coach, and Atlanta fans are in complete meltdown mode right now. I'm talking about fans literally saying, what are we doing? This is a disaster. This man is a loser. Why would we want him? One fan literally said, all the people you interviewed and Stefanski was the best option. I'm sick of this. Another one goes, this guy has been losing for years. Why are we doing this? The reactions have been brutal, absolutely savage. And it's not just random fans on Twitter either. These are diehard Falcons supporters who have watched this team struggle for years, who were hoping for a bold, innovative hire that could change the culture and bring a championship mentality. Instead, they got Kevin Stefanski, a guy who just got fired from Cleveland after multiple seasons of underperformance. Tommy Rees coming in as offensive coordinator hasn't helped the situation either. People are looking at his resume, Notre Dame, Alabama, Northwestern, and they're saying, okay, cool college experience, but what has he done at the NFL level? The answer, not much. And that's got Falcons fans worried. They're seeing terms like high school offense and 15-yard box getting thrown around. They're seeing people predict this whole experiment will crash and burn within 2 years. They're seeing the same conservative, uninspiring play calling that got Stefanski fired in Cleveland potentially coming to Atlanta, and they are not happy about it. Meanwhile, back to the Shedeur situation, and this is critical while all this drama is unfolding. Where are Shedeur and his brother Shiloh? They're in France. That's right. They're overseas at some high-end fashion event, doing interviews with Complex Magazine, living their best lives, completely unbothered by all the noise. They're talking about style and swagger and who has the better closet. Shiloh's giving Shedeur a hard time about having more free time now. They're laughing about getting their fashion sense from Coach Prime. They're enjoying the moment and building their brands on an international stage. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about how the Sanders family operates. They don't get caught up in the drama. They don't respond to every rumor or report. They stay focused on what matters. They control their own narrative. They build their own legacy. But make no mistake, Coach Prime is watching. He's seeing every report. He's hearing every whisper. He's tracking every move these NFL organizations are making. And when the time is right, when it matters most, he's going to make sure his son ends up in the right situation with the right organization that actually values him and wants to build around him. Because here's the thing that Cleveland and every other team needs to understand. Shedeur Sanders doesn't need them. He's going to be a first-round pick regardless. He's going to have multiple teams interested in him. He's going to have options. And if an organization wants to play games, wants to spread rumors, wants to try to manipulate the process, cool. That's just one less team for the Sanders family to consider. Coach Prime has been in this league long enough to know that fit matters more than anything else. It's not just about going to the team with the highest pick or the most money. It's about going to an organization that has a plan, that has stability, that has a vision for how to develop young quarterbacks and put them in position to succeed. And right now, Cleveland doesn't have any of that. No head coach means no offensive system. No offensive coordinator means no clear development plan. No stability means Shedeur would be walking into chaos from day one. Why would Coach Prime want that for his son? Why would Shedeur want that for himself? The answer is simple. He wouldn't. And that's exactly what Prime was communicating when he refused to get started with that situation. He's basically saying, Cleveland, y'all need to get your house in order before you start worrying about my son. Fix your own problems. Figure out your coaching situation. Establish some stability. Then we can talk. And the my house comment about Atlanta, that's him reminding everyone what real leadership looks like, what it means to build a franchise, what it takes to create a winning culture that lasts beyond just 1 or 2 seasons. Atlanta might have made a questionable hire with Stefanski, but at least they're his city. At least there's history there. At least there's a connection. Now, let's talk about what happens next, because this is where things get absolutely fascinating. The NFL draft is coming up fast. Teams are doing their evaluations. Prospects are doing their visits. Agents are having conversations. And every single move matters right now. Shedeur is going to have options. Maybe it's the Giants. Maybe it's the Titans. Maybe it's a team we're not even thinking about right now that decides to trade up and make a move. But wherever he ends up, you better believe Coach Prime is going to make sure it's the right fit, because this isn't just about football. This is about legacy. This is about setting Shedeur up for long-term success in the NFL. This is about making sure he has the coaching, the support system, the organizational structure he needs to thrive at the highest level. And if Cleveland or any other team thinks they can manipulate that process with rumors and reports and leaked information, Coach Prime just put them on notice. He's watching, he's aware, and he's not playing those games. The Sanders family operates differently. They built Colorado from the ground up. They turned that program into a national story. They developed NFL talent. They proved that their way works. And now, as Shedeur prepares for the next chapter of his career, they're going to make sure he lands in a situation where he can continue to grow, develop, and eventually dominate at the NFL level. Cleveland can keep playing their games if they want. They can keep leaking reports and trying to control narratives. But at the end of the day, when Shedeur Sanders is balling out in the NFL, when he's winning games and making Pro Bowls and proving all the doubters wrong, everyone's going to remember who believed in him from the start and who tried to tear him down. Coach Prime said what he said. I'm not going to get started with that situation. Translation, I could expose everything, but I'm going to stay classy. And then my house. Translation, I know my worth. I know my son's worth, and we're not settling for anything less than what we deserve. That's the message. That's the statement. And that's why the entire NFL world is talking about this right now. So here's what you need to do. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Cleveland is playing games with Shedeur? Do you think Coach Prime handled this perfectly? Where do you think Shedeur should end up in the draft? Let me know everything, because this conversation is just getting started. And make sure you're subscribed, because as we get closer to the draft, as more information comes out, as this situation continues to develop, you know I'm going to be breaking it all down for you right here. The Cleveland Browns just got put on notice. Coach Prime sent the message. And Shedeur Sanders, he's going to let his game do the talking. But trust me when I tell you, this family doesn't forget who was with them and who was against them. Cleveland better remember that. That's the story, folks. Stay locked in. More coming soon. Peace.